Investing in real estate sounds great all the time, right? Whenever you hear the stories, everyone's talking about how much money they made, how much money you could make, and all that is absolutely true. But it's also important for you to understand that there are some pitfalls to being an investor, especially in the days that we're living in now with COVID. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about what it is to be a landlord during COVID and some of the things that we have to brace ourselves for right now. You ready? Let's go. Okay, listen. Owning real estate is a great thing. Having people pay their rent every single month to you is a fantastic thing, right? Yes, it normally is. You're building wealth, you're getting passive income, whether you have apartment buildings or single family homes, there's the mortgage pay down, there's the appreciation, there's all these great things that occur. Well, COVID has really put a dent in what that looks like for a lot of landlords right now. And it doesn't really matter if it's commercial or residential, right? Commercial is being beat down. No matter where you live right now, we're seeing that businesses have shut down. Restaurants that we've known our entire life, maybe generations, are simply just gone. They're just not around anymore. They're closed. They were forced to close because of COVID, because of the lack of people coming in to spend money. They just haven't been able to do it. So now we have to deal with this whole eviction moratorium and what that means. Now, last year in 2020, when they did it and then extended it in September and then extended it in December, really in January, to, encompass what was going to happen. I mean, that was the very first thing that our new president, our new administration did when he got in office. One of the very first things he did was extend the moratorium through March, right? Through March. And the CDC actually has just signed off on that on February 3rd, I believe it was. So, what does that mean for us as landlords? I can speak for myself. We have several tenants that are unable to pay. Are there some that are unwilling to pay? Probably. But it's up to us as landlords to be diligent and determine, what's actually going on. Who can pay, who can't pay, why can't they pay, this, that, and the other. Because sometimes we have people that just take advantage of situations. As deplorable as that is, especially today, in the times that we live in now with this global pandemic and, people going through a lot of financial strife, some people just don't want to pay. They have the ability to pay, but not the willingness to pay for whatever reason. But it's up to us to do our due diligence as landlords, as the owners of said property, to do our due diligence and find out exactly who is in a good situation or who's in a bad situation, and how are we going to deal with that, right? First, to understand that moratorium has been extended. If you don't know, now you know. And there's the potential for it to be extended even further. There are talks right now, nothing concrete yet, but there are talks right now for this moratorium to extend through September of 2021. So these are things that you absolutely have to be aware of. Now, there are some things that you can do. Now, if you're doing your due diligence, I want you to see that there are ways, if you find out that your tenants are not paying the rent because they don't want to, not because they can't, there are ways that you can deal with them, that you can evict people. All right. So let me show you. Let's look at the chart here. So the first way is criminal activity. If they are doing something illegal, if they're selling drugs, having after hours parties at the place, at the house, or in the apartment, whatever the case, and you find this out and you can prove it, you can put them out. Okay, you can kick them out. The second way that you can deal with this is health and safety issues. Health and safety issues can be things like they have extra people in the property. There's 2 people on the lease, but there's 10 people in the property, and you don't want that, and you need them to get out, right? or you can't have it actually. Your insurance won't let you have that if that's the case. It could be, maybe their garbage service has been suspended because of non-payment. Can happen. It happens, and then there's just this pile up of garbage. That can be something that is health and safety wise, very, very, very bad thing. It's a very bad thing. So you want to get that taken care of. Now, there are a lot, so you have to read your lease. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not giving you legal advice, but you have to read the leases that you have given them to understand what is inside that lease to find how you can evict someone that just isn't complying with all the rules and regulations that are in place today. Now, the third way that you can evict someone in the event that you may have to is damage to property. There is a risk. What is that? What is damage to property? It could be anything. Maybe, there's holes in the wall. Maybe they're doing something quirky with the electric or plumbing. Maybe there's this makeshift, deck that they built off the back. Why would they do that? I don't know. But believe me, it's happened. We've had people remodel bathrooms in some of our properties because they just wanted it their way. Of course, I wouldn't be mad at that, but that does raise an issue. You don't know who the contractor is. You don't know if it was done properly. There are just a lot of issues that could come up. So that's another way that you could evict someone in the event that you had to. Now, another way that you could get them out is by building and health code violations. Again, it's just like the last one. If they are doing things that they don't need to be doing. There's all kind of different building code violations that could occur. Maybe they're hanging, I know in some areas, if you have properties in some subdivisions, for instance, it's not a health code violation or a building code violation more so than maybe an HOA violation, but when they put sheets in the windows as opposed to curtains, those are conversations that you can have, but you have to find out what the codes are in your area to see if there are any violations occurring. Okay? Now, the final way that you can evict someone in the event, again, that you should have to, is a violation of any terms in your lease agreement. Any terms. Again, it's extremely important for you to read through those lease agreements to understand what your options are if you're dealing with someone that does not have, the proper documentation from the CDC, from an employer, or from a doctor, because we get to hear all the stories as a landlord. I lost my job, I was furloughed, I had COVID, I've got the CDC documentation that, that shows that I filled out the paperwork and that I have a financial hardship. There are all these things that are there that you need to be aware of, okay? So you make sure you do that. Make sure you read your agreements, your lease agreements, and figure out exactly what your next move is going to be. Now, there are 3 points that I want to make as we come to close here. One thing that is really, 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 really important is you need to apply for the American Rescue Plan, the American Rescue Initiative, or whatever they're calling it today. I'm going to put a link in the description here. So if you are a landlord and you need relief, this is relief that it's $25 billion that has been set aside for businesses and supposedly for landlords, rental assistance, things like that, so that you can get some of that money. Some states are doing it on their own. I know that in New York, if you apply for rental assistance, and I'm assuming that I'm not in New York, but we're looking at some things in New York right now. But when they apply for rental assistance there, they are, that assistance program is giving that money directly to the landlord. So look into this American Relief or Rescue Plan and see what it is. Again, I'm going to give you the link in the description for that so that you can go and look and read it for yourself, because there's way too much for me to run down here for you in just a few short minutes. So really give it a look. Now, the next thing is to learn how to make money during a recession, because this isn't going to get any better anytime soon. And when I say anytime soon, I don't think this isn't going to be something that's going to lag on for the next 3 years, 5 years, even 2 years. But we don't know, right? We do know that it is going to affect us this year. And the moment those moratoriums are lifted, there are going to be evictions, there are going to be foreclosures. And through that, there are opportunities for you, myself, and many, 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 many others who can see it to have some success. You'll be able to make some money while you're solving someone else's problem, right? It's not a matter of allowing the property to go into foreclosure and, picking it up for pennies on the dollar. I mean, there's a lot of different ways for you to make deals, a ton of different ways for you to make deals so that you can help these people out of a bad situation, and they're thankful for it, and you can make money, so you'll be thankful for it. Not necessarily right away today, depends on your game plan. Which brings me to my third point. It is imperative at this moment that you have a game plan, a real estate game plan put in place. What is your business model going to look like in 2021 and beyond? Especially now that we know that there's going to be a lot of opportunity that presents itself, and we'll be eating off of this for at least the next year and a half, maybe two, depending on the extension of the moratoriums, right? But definitely for the next year and a half. And you have to be prepared for that. So having your real estate game plan or your real estate investment game plan is going to be imperative so you can follow it. Doesn't mean it's going to go letter for letter, bullet point to bullet point to bullet point. Sometimes you have to move laterally. Sometimes you have to back up. Sometimes you move forward a little faster than you thought you were going to make. Okay? So that game plan is going to outline what it is you're going to do, how you're going to do it, give you goals. You're going to set goals for yourself, and you're going to get there and you're going to do it. If you need help with that investment game plan, there's also a link down here where you can click, set up an appointment time for myself or one of my team members, and we'll give you that game plan, your individual game plan, because there's infinite number of ways to make money in real estate. Depends on a lot of different things. It depends on your tolerance levels. What do you like? What do you don't like? It depends on money. It depends on credit. But if you don't have money and you don't have credit, you're not immediately X'd out of doing real estate. That's not the case. You have the desire to do real estate. We have the methods for you to find ways to get involved in real estate. So it doesn't matter if you have money. It doesn't matter if you have bad credit. It just doesn't matter. There's always a way. I mean, we are still using OPM to do deals. We will never stop using OPM or other people's money to do deals. So if you need help with your real estate investment game plan, again, click the link below. The link for the American Rescue Plan is also going to be in the description here. Make sure you check that out for yourself if you're a landlord so you know what your options are. So thank you so very much for spending this time with me and watching this video. This is your man, Jason Myles, and I'll see you on the next one.